Lever arms are incredible, but there is one huge glaring issue that leads a lot of people to think that they are just a waste of money. You see this right here? There is no resistance at all. Even with a plate on the lever arm, it swings freely with virtually no resistance. 2 plates? Same thing. 3 plates? Heavier, but yeah, still the same thing. This dead zone where there's no tension is the main reason why people let their lever arms just collect dust. There are solutions out there to eliminate that dead zone. One of them is to use adapters like these Vendetta adapters I have. I've talked about them ad nauseum in many videos, so I'm not gonna keep beating that poor dead horse, but these adapters allow you to change the starting position so you could effectively eliminate that dead zone in the beginning of the movement with some creative positioning. However, if you truly want to mimic commercial gym equipment, there's really no solution out there. Until now. So stupid. First, let's understand why this dead zone exists. Put on my lab coat so we can talk physics. With standard lever arms, the weight is directly below the pivot point at the start of the movement. So our friend physics, it works against you. Gravity is pulling the weight straight down, but your lever arm is moving horizontally, thus no leverage. And with lever arms, you want leverage. Commercial gym equipment solves this no problem with expensive cam systems and cables, but we don't have the brain power, the ability, or the budget to handle any of that. In a recent video, I did demonstrate how I use cables to eliminate the dead zone. The issue with the cables is that it's so super specific, and if you don't have the same setup as I do, then it's not a practical solution. But this solution that I have for you applies to anybody. Any lever arms, any setup, you can make this happen. Here's what we're doing. It is super easy. We are taking these cross members. This is an 18-inch cross member. I am bolting it right onto my lever arm, and I am gonna put my weight horn at the end. That's it. By offsetting the weight, we are creating constant tension throughout the entire movement. In other words, no more dead zone. Now, if you're wondering, these are from Titan. These are their side bracings. They are 18 inches. You can get any comparable brand's cross members. They also sell a 12-inch one if you need a little bit more clearance on the outside. And there are other cross members out there. I saw that Bells of Steel has a 17-inch one, which is basically the same size. Initially, when I was experimenting with this, I thought I was gonna have to constantly take these off and put them back on. But honestly, I've been leaving them on and they haven't been an issue at all. I can still do all the exercises I want to do, and there's no major benefit or downside with certain exercises. For example, if I'm doing a shoulder press or if I'm doing an incline bench press, it really doesn't benefit me to have the weight further out, but there's no downside either, so I can keep this setup and still do exercises I would normally do. Even with the extra 18 inches, I have plenty of room to move, so I don't mind keeping these on. These do add about 10 pounds of extra weight, so you'll want to take that into account, but an extra 10 pounds on here really isn't that big of a deal. I can still move it around and adjust it really without much issue at all. For me, the best use of this is the seated chest press, an exercise that I love doing. This extra 10 pounds is already giving me some resistance in the beginning, so I will have resistance through the entire movement. And this feels significantly better than the standard lever arm chest press. With these plates just sitting on the lever arm without the cross members, that first half of the movement is resistance free. So you have to do a pretty significant amount of weight to really feel it. And even then, you're only feeling it at the end. With this, I'm getting really quality resistance through the entire thing. And then the other reason I love this is for the seated rows. I like chest supported rows. That was a machine I always enjoyed in the gym. I've been doing this with creative angles, but now I can just sit on the bench. I have the full resistance to do seated rows. I could do seated rows for days. These feel amazing. But where rows get even better is you could reverse this entire setup and put the handles on the end of the cross member and then move the weight to the lever arm itself. And by reversing it, you can then create the perfect hammer strength single arm row machine. I don't know what the machine's called. I think that's it. One of my favorite machines of all time. You reverse the bench and start facing away from the rack. This changes the path completely, so you are pulling just like one of those machines. If you like rowing on machines, this is nearly flawless. With standard lever arms, the strength curve is very extreme. At the start, you basically have 0% resistance, then you get 100% of the resistance or the total weight at the very top of the movement. With this cross member modification, we're basically flattening that strength curve. So in the beginning, you have about 40% resistance, and then you hit that 100% at the top. So it's a much more gradual and consistent resistance throughout. There's still gonna be more resistance at the top of the movement, but that cross member is creating more leverage to make that curve a little bit shorter. Is that the word for it? But there's a third option. I'm not good with technical stuff, and I see a lot of technical speak in the home gym community, so people will probably roast me in the comments for sounding like I don't know what I'm talking about, because I really don't. Recently, a lot of companies like Bulletproof I saw are working on a multi-horn adapter. You can do something very similar with this setup. You can keep the weight horn on the lever arm and then add one to the end of the cross member as well, and then split that weight up between the two weight horns. Basically, it gives you the ability to customize that strength curve based on the movement and your preferences. If your sticking point is the very beginning, then it might be helpful for you to have more weight at the end. But if the inverse is true and the beginning of the movement is your strongest, you might want to make it so there's more resistance in the beginning, and this allows you to customize it. This is so tiny. If you recall in physics, every action has an equal or opposite reaction. When you add a lot of weight on here and you press, it's gonna send your body back because physics. All I do is I throw 1 or 2 bumper plates behind my bench and it stops it from sliding. It's not a huge issue, but it's something to keep in mind that if you go heavy, your bench is gonna move a little bit. After all the lever arm videos I've done over the years, I truly think this right here is the most valuable change you could make to make lever arms as effective and useful as possible. If you like using machines in the gym, this really makes it so there's nothing lever arms can't do, and I truly believe that. That sounded like I was getting a little choked up. I wasn't, I promise, but I love lever arms. And not only is it incredibly easy, I mean, you just gotta put 2 bolts through your lever arm, but it's also inexpensive. I got these cross members for $50 on sale through Titan. Try to find some on sale, try to find some secondhand. Weld your own if you want to, but it should be pretty inexpensive and it's so easy. I've been playing around with these for a few weeks and I know there's other applications that I'm missing out on. I tried really hard to turn it into a pendulum squat. You can't mimic a pendulum squat without a dedicated machine. It's not safe, and frankly, you just cannot get that range of motion. I tried extensively, it's not working, but there are definitely other applications for this I'm missing out on. If you think of anything that I should try with it, drop me a comment and let me know. And also, I really think this would make for an insane upgrade kit if you have lever arms, just selling some kind of modified cross member so it doesn't have these pieces sticking out on the end, along with a weight horn and maybe with some kind of inexpensive handle that's easy to change out. So drop me a comment on that as well. If you would want to see this as an upgrade kit, let me know if there's interest, because I have contacts with some brands out there and I could see if I could make it happen. No promises, but I think it would be awesome. If you found this useful, please do me a favor, like the video, subscribe. Those 2 things help me so much. It helps other people discover my videos. Otherwise, I'm just talking into the void and no one's seeing my videos. Thank you for sticking with me for yet another lever arm video. I would say that this is the last lever arm video I'm gonna make, but I've said that in the past and it's proven to be a big fat lie, so I'm not gonna lie to you anymore. I don't know what the future holds. Maybe it's more lever arms. We'll see.